Hello, this is the VET Student Organization Training. Member eligibility. Student AVMA serves as the student governing body for the Texas Tech School of Veterinary Medicine. Therefore, students that would like to participate in student organizations must be members of SAVMA that are in good standing. Eligibility for leadership positions. To maintain a leadership position, you must be in good academic standing with the university and be a SAVMA member in good standing. Election information. Anyone in a leadership position must be in good academic standing to remain in that position. As your club begins elections, you may be considered with verifying that a student is eligible to run for your position. To help with this, we have crafted a letter that students will need to get signed to run for a position. Student org, class officer, student rep, etc. This letter has been added to the TTU SVM Student Central General Channel in addition to the Student Leadership Channel. Students seeking a position will print this letter, have it signed by the Associate Dean for Academic and Student Affairs or the Director of Outcomes Assessments, and return it to the club/student representative in charge of the election selection process. The Office of Academic and Student Affairs will not need a copy of this letter, so once you have verified a student is eligible to run for a position, they can either shred it or keep it to use again during that semester. The letter must be current, meaning it must have been signed during the semester they intend to run for a position. Each year, the Office of Academic and Student Affairs will need to know when you intend to schedule your elections so that we may get updated officer information and provide support to incoming officers. You will need to add this information to the shared student org calendar located in the Student Leadership Teams channel. Taxes. Every year, each student organization is independently responsible for filing their organization taxes and maintaining tax documents. Scheduling a meeting. At TTU SVM, we share a small student population and limited facilities, so it's important for our organizations to coordinate the monthly meetings and extraneous activities both on and off campus. We have created a few resources to assist in doing so, a student org calendar and a student leadership catalog. To schedule a meeting, you will need to email the Student Services Program Manager to make a room reservation and have it added to the Student Org calendar, available in the Student Leadership channel of the TTU SVM Student Central Teams. Monthly meetings. During the summer, student organizations will sign up for monthly meeting date and time using the requested monthly meeting date table on the Student Org calendar. This will be your monthly meeting date for the entire year. Should you need to reschedule a monthly meeting, contact Student Services by emailing svm.studentservices@ttu.edu. Room reservations. To make a room reservation for activities outside of your monthly meeting, you will email the Student Services Program Manager. Depending on the activity, you will also need to complete either an on-campus student-led event approval form or a wet lab approval form. In your email, you will need to include the title of the event, the room you would like, the start and end time, including time to set up and tear down, and how many people will be attending. The Student Services Program Manager will check the school's master calendar to confirm the date availability. If the date or the room that you requested is not available, the Student Service Program Manager will provide other suggestions. Use of the rooms. Following a meeting, it is your officer's team's responsibility to return the room to its original condition, shut off the overhead projector, turn off microphones and place them back on the charger, throw away trash, discard any remaining food, and wipe down tables. Event planning. Advertising for events. If you would like to advertise your event, you are permitted to do the following. Email Student Services to have the event included in the weekly happenings, print flyers and place them in the student mailboxes, send an email to the distribution list, provided it has been approved at least 48 hours in advance by Student Services. Mass emails to distribution list. To help reduce on the high volume of emails student receives daily, anyone interested in sending a mass email to any of the following distribution lists should receive prior approval from a member of the Admissions and Student Services team. You should provide a draft of your email to the Student Services no later than 48 business hours in advance. The staff member will review your email to ensure that 1. Contains all the information that is pertinent, 2. Is appropriate. Club-specific events, wet labs for members only, monthly meetings, etc. should be sent directly to your organization members. Emails for fundraisers or merchandise sales can be sent to each cohort, faculty, staff, and graduate students. On-campus student-led events. Organizations that are interested in planning an on-campus event should complete the on-campus student-led event approval form located in the Student Leadership channel. There are several signatures that you will need to acquire on this form before your event is officially approved. Forms should be returned to Raider Vet Central to be scanned into the Student Leadership Teams channel for future use. If your event requires the use of teaching models or TTU SVM supplies, you will need to complete the extracurricular wet lab requirement form. Your event is not officially approved until all signatures are received. Wet labs. The extracurricular wet lab request form is used for all wet labs on and off campus. In some on-campus events that occur on campus and require the use of SVM equipment. If you will be utilizing TTU SVM materials or equipment, please allow for 5 weeks of preparation time following the final approval to ensure the equipment/materials are in stock and available for us. Completed forms should be returned to Student Services so that they may be scanned and uploaded into the Student Leadership channel on the TTU SVM Student Central Teams. These forms will be added to a folder for future officer teams to have as reference. The following outlines the procedure for requesting an on-campus wet lab. The required steps are listed below. Each of these are listed on the on-campus wet lab request form with additional information. Wet labs take significant planning and should not be put off until the last minute. Wet lab requests must be completed, all signatures, and returned to Student Services at least 8 weeks prior to the lab date. Failure to comply will result in immediate denial of your request. Wet labs continued. There are 7 signatures that you will be required to obtain as your work to complete the on-campus wet lab request form. Signatures must be obtained in the order that they appear on the form. Required signatures are highlighted in yellow and located dependent signatures are highlighted in blue. The planning of a wet lab should be done with the assistance of your faculty advisor. There will be one primary student contact for the lab. That student is responsible for communicating with their advisor and the staff members outlined in this document. To avoid confusion in the planning process, students should only reach out to the unit and inventory managers about supplies and any assistance that they may need. From there, the unit and inventory managers will communicate with the appropriate staff members. Step 1. Statement of Understanding. The primary contact is responsible for all of the following: returning the wet lab request form completed to Student Services prior to 8 weeks before the requested date. Failure to acquire all necessary signatures within the stated timeline will result in immediate denial of my request. Scheduling a meeting with your organization faculty advisor to plan wet lab activities. Obtaining topic approval from Clinical and Professional Skills Director, obtaining date approval from Student Services, scheduling a meeting with the appropriate unit manager and inventory manager to discuss location, animal use, and inventory needs, listed below. Ensuring a faculty member is present for the duration of the wet lab, returning event spaces to the original state, ensuring audio-visual equipment is turned off, projector and screens turned off, microphone is turned off and placed back on the charger. Do not shut off computers, but please make sure to log out. Clean up leftover food, putting trash from the vent in the dumpsters, ensuring doors are properly closed, notifying inventory manager if equipment is damaged before, during, or after an event. Step 2. Event details. Obtain topic approval from Clinical and Professional Skills Director, listed below. Topics that will be covered in future courses may be denied. Obtain dates, approved signatures from a Student Services representative. Though you will need to gain approval for the use of the facilities from the unit and inventory managers, this step is to ensure there is no other scheduling conflicts within the school. Other students' organizations, large-scale school events, etc. Once you have received a signature for your event date, place a hold on the student leadership calendar so that other clubs are aware of your event. Schedule a meeting with your organization faculty advisor to plan wet lab activities. You will work with your faculty advisor to create a preliminary list of equipment and materials that you may need, as well as an environmental arrangement and a sequence of events. Bring this list with you to your meeting with the inventory/unit manager. Step 3A. Supplies and equipment. The primary contact for the wet lab should be the only person to reach out to the inventory and unit managers. This helps streamline the process and avoid confusion for all parties involved. Schedule a meeting with the inventory manager to discuss inventory needs, including teaching specimen requests. The inventory manager is listed below. Step 3B. Facilities, supplies, equipment, and lab arrangement. Schedule a meeting with the appropriate unit manager to discuss location and animal use, listed below. Note: you may schedule the Step 3 meeting simultaneously if applicable. Please do not reach out to other technicians prior to final approval. Step 4. Final approval. Obtain final approval signature. The Associate Dean for Academic and Student Affairs. Requests are not approved until all signatures are received. Failure to return a completed form to Student Services at least 8 weeks out from the date will result in an immediate denial of the request regardless of circumstance. Merchandise. Student organizations are responsible for ensuring all their merchandise is in accordance with TTU policy. Student organizations are solely responsible for distributing their own merchandise. There should be no expectation that staff members outside of your organization will distribute merchandise on your behalf. This includes leaving items with the front desk for pickup or any mailing that must be done. You may keep merchandise in the E112 closet on your organization designated shelving unit. You will only have access to this closet when classes and other events are not in session. Therefore, it is important that you plan accordingly. You may check out the key to this closet with the Student Services Program Manager or the Administrative Assistant in Raider Vet Central. TTU SVM Student Organization Merchandise Approval Process. This process has been created based on the guidance of staff members in the Texas Tech University Office of Communication and Marketing. This policy is subject to review, and TTU SVM staff reserve the right to adjust as necessary. If you have questions or are uncertain as to whether you are following procedures, please consult Student Services. Student organizations intending to create merchandise should follow the procedures below. Students will develop a concept and create artwork for the merchandise. Students will identify a Texas Tech licensed vendor to work with on creating their merchandise. Students will obtain approval from Student Services and the Senior Associate Dean of Academic and Student Affairs for the merchandise concept to ensure it upholds the standards of TTU SVM. Students will consult with the Director of Marketing Communications for the proper use of the Raider Vet trademark and for use of the TTU SVM seal. Students not intending to use a TTU SVM seal or Raider Vet may skip this step. Students are responsible for sending their artwork to a staff member in the Office of Marketing and Communication listed below, and including these two other people we have on this PowerPoint. The TTU Office of Communications and Marketing will either approve or deny the artwork. If approved, students may proceed with their merchandise production through an approved vendor. If rejected, the TTU Office of Communications and Marketing may provide feedback on the adjustments that may be made to gain approval, or they may reject the design entirely. Important consideration. Student organization faculty and staff must use a licensed Texas Tech vendor. Student organizations are not required to submit artwork through TechBuy due to the use of non-institutional funds outside bank accounts. Organizations are not permitted to use the Double T by itself. There must be a department or club affiliation associated with the Double T. You can use the TTU SVM signature logo to brand your merchandise. You can get this from Weston Brooks. As of August 2024, there are new brand guidelines and logos. Use of likeness. Organizations are permitted to use the trademark versions of the Mask Rider and Raider Red. However, organizations are not permitted to change the logos or create artistic renditions of these logos. Student organizations are not permitted to use the vintage Double T. Texas Tech Athletics is the only department allowed to utilize this trademark. The Double T cannot be sketched. For use of the current Double T, student must ensure the registration mark is present. For more information on branding guidelines, please click here. For logos that your organization can use, please utilize this Texas Tech brand SharePoint. For examples on proper use of Texas Tech logos or for a list of licensed vendors, please visit the Internal Department's Organization Student Groups webpage. Thank you.